Hi, how are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
Very well, and your name is?
My name is Samuel Utap.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And I would like you today to talk about your forestry campaign and the court case that you were in charge of in the year 1998 to 2000.
It all started with the clear-cutting practices in the EUHG. And as a result of the clear-cutting practices, this displaced a lot of the families that were on their trap lines. We lost the court case, and based on that, we initiated the forestry campaign, an international campaign. And our campaign was based on the unsustainable practices of these forestry companies and violations of environmental laws and regulations. And also the free trade agreement that, between Canada and the US. So we took our case down to Washington, to the States. And we lobbied with the governors and people that were in a position to make changes to the laws and regulations down there, and as well as to making the public aware of what was happening. So we had to try and get public awareness out there and get people on our side. And we had a successful campaign. You know, there were a lot of people, a lot of governors, I would say, in Washington that were willing to listen to us and to start talk about making changes to what was happening and investigating some of the practices of the forestry companies in Quebec. That also resulted in a meeting that we had with the Home Depot. Now, Home Depot at the time was just coming in to the province of Quebec, set up about 18 Home Depot stores. And the government was just in the process of doing that agreement and signing the agreement to set up those stores. Now, Home Depot is one of the world's largest supplier of wood products. And we had a chance through people, connections in the States, to go to Atlanta, Georgia, to the shareholders meeting of Home Depot. And we took our case down there, and we had we were able to ask to the shareholders if they would be willing to do something to help the Cree people of EUHG, you know, what was happening as a result of forestry practices in Quebec. And they agreed to it. And we had the media follow us and everything, and obviously the story got out, and the government heard about it. Well, the government, people in the government were always following us too. You know? And that resulted in the Premier of Quebec calling the Grand Chief for a private special meeting. And we weren't allowed to go in the foot shoulders, but the leaders went to a meeting with him. And then they came back and said, well, the government wants to sit down and negotiate. And he did. What do you want? So after our trip to Home Depot in Atlanta, Georgia, the Premier called the Cree leadership, the Grand Chief, to a meeting. And what came out of that meeting was the government wanted to sit down and negotiate a settlement. But so we agreed to that process, and as a result of that, few years of negotiations, we enlarged the negotiations to several tables, which included all resource development projects, including hydro, mining, as well as other outstanding obligations of the government of Quebec and Canada well, mainly Quebec, in the regional James Bay Northern Quebec agreement. And out of the negotiations, what came out was what is called the Pays de Brave, signed in February, sometime February 12th, I believe, of 2002. And the results of that agreement was there's a lot of changes to the way development takes place now in the USG. There's more meaningful consultations. There's a lot of involvement of the Cree people on all aspects of development in the USG, be it forestry, mining, hydro, and any other form of development. Crees are now at a table whenever any project comes up for development. And so that was one of the more positive changes what development in the USG. I've seen a lot of changes too in our people as a result of Pays de Brave. There's more opportunities for people to be involved in the wage economy. There's a lot more resource development companies that are willing to hire, train Cree people, help the families that are directly affected or impacted by development activities on their traplands. There's been a cutback on the scale of forestry cutting in the traplands. There are now regulations in place to help families as well as restoration projects where the impacted families are directly involved. There's benefits in terms of helping people live and manage their croplands and be able to continue to live a traditional way of life on their hunting territories. There's programs to help them get by, for them to be able to purchase equipment and stuff that they need to live a traditional way of life. So there's been a number of positive changes that I've seen, and the youth, the young people are more and more involved. There's more training for young people, as you see here in this school and many other places. Good, thank you.
Merci, monsieur. C'était une belle entrevue.
Welcome.